All right, we've got a box opening this morning, and this should be a KLH Model 20, I believe, that was sent in for repair. This is like a portable record player slash AM/FM stereo receiver, I think, something like that. Okay, here's the envelope with the return label in it. I looked at the schematic for this and it looked like a lot of germanium goodness. So let me see, how am I going to do this? Now the owner pulled the turntable part of it out. He said that's been restored before he shipped it, I guess to save on weight. I wouldn't blame him at today's shipping prices. I believe he said it was humming and it had a multiplex issue or alignment or something. It's interesting how they shielded that. They wrapped it with a coil of magnet wire. It's got a schematic on the bottom. $70 watts max, wow. Headphone, this is like a professional grade little, definitely not Crosley, that's for damn sure. Look at it, it's actually got a power transformer. That power transformer probably has 5 times as much metal as an entire Crosley has in the whole unit. That looks like the multiplex decoder right there. And he mentioned alignment, but the first thing you got to do is change these capacitors, because these capacitors go bad on the multiplex board. Thing will operate like it's way out of alignment. The other thing is the stabilizing capacitor is real critical on a stereo multiplex. That's the little 5 microfarad in the detector circuit. If that thing's open, stereo multiplex will never work and sound right. Guess what we need to do is get it hooked up and see how it sounds.
Who they are, what they...
Okay, this is a really interesting problem, and most people probably will not be able to pick up on it because they're watching on their phone. But when you turn the balance all the way this way...
I recorded a StoryCorps interview with my dad, who was a psychiatrist.
That speaker only.
A well-known gay activist.
Now when you put this in the middle...
A couple of years ago, when my dad...
I'll put it on mono. When you put this in the middle, it's both speakers, but they sound like they're out of phase with each other. They're canceling in the middle.
It was June 28th, 2012, the anniversary of the Stonewall riots.
What do you think is the most important thing that you've accomplished in your life?
And then as you adjust it all the way to the right, the phase cancellation stops. It's like as you turn it, the phase flips. I don't know how to describe it other than that. They're out of phase with it in the middle, and when you turn it all the way to the left, it doesn't go to the right speaker. It goes back to both speakers in phase, but in the middle, they're out of phase.
Your first time listening to NPR's Morning Edition, that is.
People just talking like normal people, telling me about the world.
There's always one story that makes me wake up. No matter how many times you've listened, listen again each weekday to Morning Edition.
Have a look at this thing from the bottom. Wow, nicely made. Lots of germanium goodness. And yeah, I've been thinking about it. If you did have a bad bypass capacitor, it would cause the audio phasing to flip because it would dump from the collector or something back into the power supply. Look at the IF strip. Kind of looks like it did in that IF, that RCA radio. I'm not going to go after this right now. I want to go after that phase stereo issue. Wait a second, what is this? I believe we have a botch job. There's another, I guess acceptable, but maybe kind of Mickey Mouse repair. You can see those little S-shaped things there to hold that fuse in parallel with the one that blew. Maybe it's more than that. I took it out of the box, and this thing is going to be really difficult to recap. We even got one down in here. This is not, I mean, these pull off. You could pull these off with a lot of difficulty, but man, what a, they just go all the way around. What a cluster. Let me think about how I'm going to do this. This is a power supply board, and this is kind of the first one I want to check right here. CEMX. I don't know why, I'm just looking at that one. I took 3 of the filters off of here and checked them, and they were all perfect. And then I just changed them, and it didn't make any difference. It's still humming. So I'm not buying it that it's a filter problem, and this is the wrong way to go about diagnosing this. This is getting hot. This one is really hot, actually, and this one's cold. Now,
that first day of school smell, and it was long.
With germanium transistors, you don't want hardly any noticeable temperature there. They get thermal runaway real quick, and for this to be as hot as it is and this to be cold, I ain't buying it. There's something wrong here. You know, I can recap it and that would probably make everybody all excited, but if it didn't work in the end, then I'm out all that time, the guy doesn't have a working system, and I look like an idiot. So let's go about this the right way. Now let me just show you what I'm talking about here. 97, 87, 108. If I is this hooked up backwards? These wires here go to the output transistors, and now actually this one's got much hotter than this one. Here we have a solid brown and orange, and here we have white and orange stripe, and over here we have all stripes, and over here we have all solids. What is going on here? So have these been reversed? Because as you see, red with red stripe, solid red, solid orange, solid green, green with white with green stripe, blue, see? Blue, white with blue stripe, red with white with red stripe, and over here we have solid red, solid blue, and solid green. So wouldn't it make logical sense that this would go over here, and that would explain all the phasing issues, because you're driving one transistor on this channel, one transistor on this channel, and you're not driving left and right. You got it mixed up. I'm going to change it. Okay, getting these wires straightened out. These wires actually go to these thermal sensors here that regulate the bias on the diodes, so I mean the transistors. So having those right, the transistors are not overheating now. The next thing I gotta do is I gotta replace these capacitors. This one here is leaking, and then I gotta go over the capacitors on this board because there's a lot of noise in the FM multiplex. I'm gonna hang it up for now. This thing's getting on my nerves. Alright, I've been screwing with this thing some more. I changed both of these capacitors. One of them was swollen and leaking, which was this one. And I've been trying to find the capacitor or whatever's causing all this noise in the multiplex circuit and the little tiny bit of hum, and I finally found it. And it's this one right here in the power supply, the smaller, the second one down, and I'll demonstrate what it's doing. I'm going to bridge another one across the bottom of it. It's a really weird problem. Here we go. Okay, check this out. Check out this weird noise.
You've all got senators. Call your senators. Tell them co-sponsor and support S-299 to end the ban on travel to Cuba. There's a companion bill, which means an identical bill in the House of Representatives.
Okay, here's another symptom of it. If I crank the audio way up.
Stanford from South Carolina. And I am just absolutely blocking on the Democrats. That's terrible.
Okay.
Anyhow,
Instead of talking about the bills, what are the pieces that we want to knock off? The different. There's a travel ban.
right.
What else? What is the policies? What are they comprised of?
Now the question is how to change it. if you look at how this is put together, there's an aluminum, okay, these are the rectifier diodes right here. There's an aluminum plate, and the aluminum plate itself is the positive. Remember, this is germanium, so everything's backwards. And these are the 4 screws, here, 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 and here, to take the plate off. And then these are the ground leads, and then the canister itself is positive. So how do I do this? I'm a little bit not sure of how to do this. This is going to be very difficult to get this apart. I'm just not quite. You could see down there they got the twist tabs. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Let's see. Gee, do you think this is dried out? It even just sounds hollow. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm kind of decapitating it or whatever, ripping the pants off of it. Yeah, look at this thing. It's what a trip. Well, I can work with that. Here's the bottom of the one that was in there. And here's the can. I can work with that. What was the value of this? 2,000 or 3,000? Alright, I got it apart, and what I did is I used the big 150 watt soldering iron there to melt the solder on the screws, and then I got a screwdriver in them and got them out while the thing was hot. And this was the main filter cap, and I hate to change this because this is one heavy duty. This is one good quality capacitor. Whale, that is no lie. I mean, look at the way this thing is sealed. The parts in this thing are very high quality. And here's what I'm going to put in there. It's a Nichicon. So I hate to do it because this old school thing, this thing is good quality. Okay, it's all soldered back together. Got to remember on this stuff that the positive goes to ground because it's PNP germanium, so this bus down here is positive and then those are negative. This thing sounds so good now. Needs an antenna.
Breezy is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like a roll in a thrift store dress. Keeps my. That's why. But there's nothing to be afraid of. En dos bocas.
Sí, pero ya es último.
¿Y fue arreglado?
Ya, niños.
Sí, no, pues sí, no, pero pues ni modo que...
talking about a New York Times article that's out. We're certainly...
She's the only one that I've been dreaming of. When she goes around the midnight train and Vamos a poner que se mueva, pero se los juro que cuando tú te the Cuban and they get played, cause they trick made pulling out a swing a lot of day.
Germany's really been the driver then over the years of getting...
Security forces fled, and the militants settled in as rulers of the city. And many are asking why, a year on, there hasn't been a counteroffensive. NPR's Alice Fordham is in Iraq, and she reports there's no force willing and able... The situation in Mosul.
That's television channel 6 analog.
Padre, le faltó también mencionar los regalos que está dando recaudación de fondos para las personas de Club Milenio.
Excellent quality portable stereo record player thing. Excellent quality. Okay, wrapping up the KLH Model 20, and I should imagine I should get a picture of that. Basically, I went through and I recapped a lot of this thing. A lot of the original caps are super high quality. They're all testing perfect. 90% of the trouble was caused by this cap right here. I completely recapped the power supply. It's good caps, all 105. I recapped the audio coupling to speaker capacitors. This thing is all germanium. It's all RCA. Initially, I thought that this was Japanese made. I'm thinking parts of it are Japanese and parts of it are American. This is let's brake for the airplane. I'm thinking as far as portable record players go, this has got to be about the highest quality thing I've ever seen, or that was ever made. But yeah, a lot of confusing turns on this on the way to getting it going, but it sounds excellent. And the owner didn't send the turntable drive with it because he restored that and he wanted to save on weight and possibly damaging it and shipping. I don't blame him. So we got it. I got it plugged into the 1200 here. He said that this uses a magnetic cartridge, which is another real high-end move for the time it was made. It's got two auxiliary inputs, FM, stereo, separate bass and treble controls. So let's plop some vinyl on this and see if it actually is magnetic.
It's got heavy out in the back seat of my 60 Chevy, working on mysteries without any clues, working on a night move, trying to make some front page driving news.
It goes into feedback because the speakers are not in cabinets. Oh, I remember dealing with this in my nightclub sound system days. What a pain in the ass this was. You always had high pass filters. You'd try and cut off everything below about 55 hertz or so, and trying to deal with turntable feedback was a real nightmare. Check this out. Watch the speakers. Watch my finger and watch the speakers. That is some low frequency response. Let's see your Crosley do that. Actually, you don't have to worry about feedback on a Crosley because a 1-inch speaker won't produce anything below about 800 hertz. I noticed on this meter that looks like the paper had fallen down underneath the needle, or the needle was under the paper, so I thought I'd take a look at it and see if I could fix it real quick. And look at the quality of this thing. Look at this, it's put together with screws. And yeah, here I got it apart. Here's the little front part. So I'm just going to glue that back on. What that's supposed to be is that's supposed to be like the ratio detector balance, right? So you want to keep it centered in the middle. You don't want it, biased to one side or the other. I'll show you when I get it together. And there we go. You can see that they used neon bulbs in here that won't burn out. Look at the way that they have those fed through. This thing is just so high quality. This video is probably going to cause a run on these things on eBay. I wouldn't blame you if you want a quality record player. Look at the shafts are brass. If you want a quality record player, this is it. Okay, you look at where this thing is when the unit's turned off. It's not quite in the middle anymore. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to turn it on. We're going to tune across the band a little bit. And when the station is tuned in, it should be zeroed out. It should be like it is right now. It's the same thing as doing the last stage of the FM alignment. So that would be tuned in right there. That would be tuned in.
Videos, gym selfies, political views. When did it stop? How about with your nachos? Reintroducing the $1.49 grilled stuffed nacho from
So that's going to be properly tuned when it's at its 0 point, like it is now.